We're making another Hollow Knight video today, which means we're playing the release trailer in the background of the introduction. Again! But seriously, everybody likes Hollow Knight, and related videos always get a good amount of views. Which of course leads me into today's topic. Hollow Knight has spawned a huge community on multiple platforms where fans create videos, art, memes, and other fun creations. So after 4 years since the game's initial release, it's no surprise that we are seeing video games trying to explore the style and concept further. For some reason, a loud minority of fans are getting angry that Hollow Knight is inspiring other games, which confuses me because Hollow Knight itself is a mismatch of ideas from the Metroidvania genre. Just look at these comments on the Gleamlight announcement trailer. Nothing particularly offensive is being shown here, but people are already going hollow. And I mean, yeah, Gleamlight sucked, but we didn't know that back when this announcement trailer dropped. But let's steer clear of negativity in this video, because I fought the urge to clickbait this video with the title Hollow Knight Clones. And I want to talk about some games that borrow ideas from Hollow Knight and succeed in their own right as quality experiences. First, let's talk about Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Now this game is a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, which came out before Hollow Knight, but this second game brings a lot of Hollow Knight's ideas to the table that help to round out the whole experience. The most obvious similarity is how the map works. Just like Hollow Knight, you'll fumble around in a new area with no map for a while until you find the map guide that sells you a piece of paper for 50 bucks, then you'll fill out the rest of the area yourself. I like this system because it actually lets you get lost in the world, and you'll have to keep a mental map for yourself, making the discovery of the map maker in each area legitimately rewarding. Ori 2 also borrows Hollow Knight's charm system that lets the player equip only a handful of their bonus abilities at a time. This is obviously a great system to boost replayability, but I think Ori 2 could have been a little more creative in the kinds of charms it offers. Most of these are just slightly increased health and damage related upgrades, whereas Hollow Knight had minions that would let you cheese half the bosses, or everyone's favorite, the Wayward Compass that lets you one-shot every enemy, but even cooler was the fact that you could synergize to make some creative new abilities as well. Of course, Ori does succeed in new ways that make a fresh experience from Hollow Knight. Like, can we talk about the visuals? Holy, this game is so flippin' good. There are so many colors, and the abilities that really focus on platforming like the grapple or the bash, just moving around in Ori feels so badass. My favorite ability is Launch, which lets you just break the game in half by giving you a 50-foot boost whenever you want, at essentially no cost. The combat has been totally redone in the sequel and I love it. Sure, you can use the base Pokey Slash, or you can join the Chads and use the hammer. That has so much weight behind it, it feels so incredible, like damn, this game is good. Play the game! Next up is a game that everyone is sleeping on, like seriously, people need to check this one out. 8 Doors Ahrim's Afterlife Adventure, the name's kinda long, but trust me, the game's good. It's the most Hollow Knight-like game I've played yet, and it remains distinct in its story and style. You play as a kid whose father died mysteriously, so you travel to the afterlife to solve the mystery. Visually, the game blows me away for the exact opposite reason of Ori. The only color in the entire thing is red, with everything else being a series of grays, yet each area feels visually distinct to the point where I completely forgot about the limited color palette. Part of this quality is the soundtrack that is so hypnotic. I wasn't super invested in the story early on, but the song that plays in the villain's cutscene is so good that I never skipped a single one. Similarities to Hollow Knight include another map guy, lots of bosses, and a handful of familiar abilities like the wall climb, double jump, and dash, making the game control almost identical to Hollow Knight. However, there is also the addition of a dodge roll that lets you breathe a little in the combat encounters, making for a system that is less about spacing and more about constant pressure on the enemies. There are also a ton of secrets behind hidden walls, and they were always worth exploring for permanent health increases or fun optional abilities in the skill tree. I skimmed over the bosses earlier, but they really are essential to the experience. There are so many of them, and like Hollow Knight, a ton of them are optional. These guys don't mess around though, and will keep the pressure on you, but all of their attacks are telegraphed, so the difficulty never felt unfair. I will say that the end of the game felt a little bloated, because the game just throws a ton of bosses at you in the last hour to the point where I had to take several breaks from boss fatigue, but it doesn't ruin the experience. I still haven't seen everything the game has to offer, but apparently there are multiple endings, so I can't wait to dive back in and explore the world even more. Seriously, go support the game. What I haven't talked about yet is my appreciation for the simplicity in how all these games tie in their main combat and progression. I'm a big fan of smart melee combat over anything else, so let's look at Metroid and Castlevania as the pioneers of the genre. I appreciate Metroid's simplicity in the pickups it offers and the options you have. Every upgrade is worthwhile because every upgrade is intentional. The only missing piece for me is an action-packed melee combat system, which I want to stress is just something I like to see in games. Metroid isn't worse without it. Castlevania has a reverse problem with a fun combat system that keeps you close to enemies, but an overload of unnecessary items that keep you visiting the menu more often than I'd like to. Both of these choices in both of these games aren't terrible, and I'm really not criticizing it, but it's just not what I'm looking for. And it's why I'm happy to see games like Hollow Knight show some restraint and force you to get creative with the abilities you have. Though I did just praise the game for letting you cheese bosses with charms, so I'm probably just being a critical crumpet. Another game I want to talk about is Crowsworn. This game got a reveal trailer a few weeks ago, and it definitely got the Hollow Knight community's attention. For better or for worse, but unfortunately we don't know a lot about this game right now because it's still a couple months away from its Kickstarter campaign. We definitely won't be able to get our hands on this game for a while, but I'll leave some links in the description if you want to see more information. It's always nice to have something to look forward to, and I'll give you my very original opinion on the trailer. If Hollow Knight is Dark Souls and Ori is Sekiro, then Crowsworn will be like Bloodborne. Yup.